Welcome to The Explainer. Today we are diving into a really fascinating historical religious text from a work called Millennial Dawn. We're going to explore one particular study from that collection that makes a pretty bold and urgent claim, one that absolutely captivated its readers way back at the turn of the 20th century. Okay, let's get right into it.
So, the text kicks off not with some quiet suggestion, but with this thunderous, absolute declaration, the time is at hand. I mean, this isn't a maybe or a perhaps. It's a statement of pure fact, and it immediately sets this tone of incredible urgency and certainty for the entire argument that's about to unfold.
So, what does that actually mean? The time is at hand. What time? Let's dig into the core proclamation of this document and see what it claims is waiting just around the corner for every single person.
According to the author, the world isn't just waiting around for a big change. It's right in the middle of it. The document's whole point is that this divine kingdom isn't some far-off dream. No, instead, it's a process that's actively underway, a huge shift in power from earthly kingdoms to a divine one, happening right then and there.
Now, this document doesn't just make a sweeping claim and, leave it at that. It builds a case, a very specific one, that's based on a prophetic timeline. So let's take a look at the key dates it uses to build this whole countdown.
So the author lays out this really precise chronology. They argue that we're already living in the 7th millennium, which they say began back in October 1872. The study goes on to say that times of restitution kicked off in 1874. These are all presented as major prophetic milestones that have already come and gone, all leading up to one single incredibly important year.
And boom, this right here is the central anchor point for the entire prophecy. The year 1914 is presented as the absolute, unquestionable endpoint for the world order as they knew it, the exact moment when that lease of power held by human governments was set to expire.
Okay, now this is where things get really interesting. It's how the text frames all the chaos and upheaval happening in the world. It basically says that the very same events, all the political turmoil, the social unrest, can be seen in two completely different ways. It all just depends on your perspective.
So first, the text describes the view of the worldly wise. The statesmen, the philosophers, the big leaders of the day. They see all the old religious and social structures shaking, and they are filled with dread. They're terrified it's all going to lead to violence and total anarchy.
But then it flips the script with the saints' view. From this perspective, believers see the exact same events, maybe even more clearly, but they understand them in a completely different light. For them, this isn't the world falling into chaos. No, it's the necessary and even blessed process of tearing down the old world to make way for the new millennial kingdom. So it's actually a source of comfort, not fear at all.
And this brings us to a really crucial question. If the outcome is so certain, if this new kingdom is definitely on its way, then why reveal all these detailed prophecies in the first place? Well, the text tackles this head-on by outlining a very specific purpose and a mission for its followers. The document pretty much asks this question itself. It suggests that the timing of this knowledge is no accident. Why give believers this field glass of God's word, as it calls it, at this exact moment in history? What's the point?
And it gives this four-part answer. The prophecies are meant to be, first, a tool for comfort during troubled times. Second, a testimony to the world. Third, a shield to strengthen faith against doubt. And finally, and this is key, a spur, a motivation for urgent, dedicated action. The point is not to just sit back and watch it all happen.
And this whole idea builds to a really powerful metaphor. The document tells its readers to see themselves as workers in a great spiritual harvest. This special knowledge about the times isn't just for their own personal enlightenment. Nope, it's a command to get to work, to become active reapers, and to use their time, their energy, and their thoughts for this one specific urgent job.
So the study builds to its big finale, not with more calculations or complicated dates, but with a really powerful and evocative poem that sums up its ultimate message of hope and transition.
This first line of the poem just perfectly captures that central theme we've been talking about, a rapid, unstoppable, ongoing shift from one age to the next. The change isn't just on the horizon, it's happening right now.
The poem then frames this change as a triumphant march from darkness and confusion into clarity and truth. It's this idea that old human theories and beliefs are just fading away, being replaced by a divine light that is spreading and simply cannot be stopped.
And this final image really drives home the core idea of the entire text, that this transformation isn't random or chaotic. It's a deliberate, divinely commanded process. It's this unstoppable force that is actively remaking the world and bringing in a new dawn.
And all of this leaves us with one last thought to chew on. This text isn't really just about a future date on a calendar. When you get down to it, it's about completely reframing the present. It's about transforming this moment, right now, from a time of fear and uncertainty into a moment of profound significance, divine purpose, and an urgent personal mission.